Hi everyone, I'm Leo. Welcome to this deep dive about the MG50, which can be considered a follow-up to my review of the MG50 itself, which of course you can check out in the channel. In this video we will answer the questions I received after my demo review. Questions like the latency of the MG50, or about the looper, the Whammy effect, the spillover functionalities, etc. And before starting, let me really thank you, all of you, as your support and comments after the MG50 video were really super great. Thank you so much for all the kind words and messages of appreciation of my work. It really means a lot to me. Let's start. Let's start with the first question about latency. If you are new to the channel and you want more info about latency and how I have measured it, you can check out my 23 amp modeling pedalboard latency comparison video following the link in the card above or description below. With this out of the way, let's jump straight to the results. With an empty chain, I mean no effect block in the chain, we have 1 milliseconds of latency. If we activate only an amp block, we have around 2 milliseconds of latency. On the other hand, with just a cab in the chain, we have 2.2 milliseconds. With both an amp and cab activated, we have around 3.2 milliseconds of latency. On the other hand, if we just use an amp block without amp and cab, we have around about 2 milliseconds of latency. If we activate a reverb or a delay, the latency does not change, which is good. Now, as we know, the MG50 allows us to use also parallel chains. Well, if we use a parallel chain with a double amp and cab, the latency is the same as the one with just one amp and cab, which is very good. Here, I would also mention that I have built a pretty complex signal chain with an OD, a dual amp with stereo IR, and then a modulation, delay and reverb, etc. And the latency stays at 3.2 milliseconds. So here we can also derive the fact that the unit can manage a dual amp setup with also an OD, a chorus, delay and reverb. So I would say that the device has a latency at around about 3.2 milliseconds for all the standard signal chains we may use, and this is the value actually advertised by NUX. And if we use an amplifies, which includes the speaker, the latency is better at around 2 milliseconds, which is the case I use the most. Now, 3.2 milliseconds is a pretty average value, and of course there are other devices with better latency performances like the NUM player, which is below 1 milliseconds, or Boss units, which are at around 1 milliseconds. But 2 milliseconds using NUM proxies is a pretty good value, also considering that we can even have a double signal chain with 2 NUM blocks. Very nice. Yes, I know that when we are far from a speaker we have a sort of natural latency, but please take into consideration the overall latency of our system, as latency sums up. I mean, the latency of our profiler or modeler sums up with the latency derived from the fact that we may be far from our speakers. That sums up with the latency derived from a wireless system, a digital mixer, etc. Furthermore, each of us has different sensibilities to latency. Please let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Next question about the Whammy effect. Yes, we have one which is located in the Wah block. If you ask me how it sounds, well, I think it sounds pretty well. Here you can listen to just some demos. Does the unit manages spillover or trail for the delays while switching presets? Now, I was not able to find the info in the manual or a dedicated function in the MG50. I have tried, and when we switch preset or scenes, the trails are not carried on. But if we assign the delay block, for instance, to the control switch, when we activate or deactivate the delay, it carries over. Of course, These are the first iterations of the firmware, therefore we can expect this functionality to be added in future firmware upgrades. Another question is, can we use IR on one output only? Yes, it is possible using the double chain, where on one side we can place the amp with the IR, and on the other side we can copy the same amp, or of course we can place another one, and we can remove or switch off the IR. Can we move the effect loop around the chain? Yes, we can, just dragging and dropping. Does it have a looper? Yes, it does. Here's what I have learned about the looper. We can assess it by pressing and holding the down and up foot switches simultaneously, which takes us into the looper mode. It offers up to 60 seconds of recording in mono and 30 seconds in stereo. And then once we are in, there are a couple of useful settings worth knowing about. We have an NR switch. NR stands for normal recording and works like any standard looper. Hit the foot switch and it starts recording right away. AR, which stands for auto recording, on the other hand, puts the unit in standby after we press the foot switch, and it only begins recording once it detects we are playing. This is helpful for getting a clean start without capturing dead air. Then we have a pre-post switch that determines where the looper sits in the signal chain. In pre-mode, the loop is recorded before the effects, meaning we can change amp, drives, modulations, etc. on playback. On the other hand, in post mode, the loop captures our fully processed signal, so it plays back exactly as it sounded when we recorded it, regardless of any changes we make afterwards. And that's all for this in-depth video, which can be considered a follow-up of my initial demo review that of course you can check out in the channel. Now, I know there are some more questions, like the performances of the internal amp capturing tech of the MG50 or how it compares to other devices like the Ampero 2. But those videos require much more work, so I kindly ask you to be patient. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to help me to create more content like this. Thank you so much and see you soon. Bye bye.